I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and today I'm giving you a little overview of how I use my brother's scan and cut for all of my printable junk journal and craft kits. I'm also going to tell you some things I like about it and dislike about it, and this machine can definitely do a lot more than what I do with it, but I'm really going to focus on how I use it to cut everything out for my videos. So this is the Brother Scan and Cut SDX85, which I believe is the least expensive model. The higher end models have larger screens on them and more preloaded cutting files, but I don't miss those at all. And I use this machine exclusively to cut out printed pages. So I'm going to jump right into how I use this machine. I'm just going to turn it on really quick. And when you turn it on, you're going to get this prompt here. The carriage will move to the initial position. I'm just going to click OK. And you couldn't see it, but the carriage just gave a little twitch to make sure it was set all the way to the left. And now you can see I am on this screen where it says scan or pattern. Pattern is where you're going to find all those preloaded cuts. I never go in there. I think I used it to set the machine up and that was it. So we're just going to use the scan option. But first I need to set my page up on the mat. So here's the mat. Mine is well used. You can see it has these little barcode things on it. You have to use a Brother Scan and Cut mat. You can't use other mats with this machine. It's going to scan this barcode, and if it can't read it or it's not present, then it will not use the mat. And you can see it is quite long. It has the barcode at the other end and then some Brother information on the bottom. Other than that, it has a 12 by 12 sticky space. And I have a little washi tape here for extra stick because mine has gotten quite dirty, and I'll go over the mats in more detail after we do our first cut. So I'm just going to pull my tape to the side, and I'm going to use this fussy cut sheet from the October 2025 challenge. Let's just get that stuck down on there, and then I use the tape over the edges. And all I did was print this on my printer normally. I have Epson EcoTank. This is on high quality on 110-pound cardstock. That's 199 GSM. And I did nothing special to it, just right out of the printer. So I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to load this into the machine. So I'm just bringing the edge up to the rollers. I'm making sure it's all the way to the left. And then I'm going to hit this middle button. This is a little mat load button. I'm going to press that. And now that is loaded, and I'm going to zoom in closer to the screen. And I'm using the stylus that comes with the machine. This is a touch screen, and I'm just going to hit scan. This is a direct cut. And then I'm using the machine, not my computer. This does support computer directed cutting, I believe. I have never used it. I bought this machine specifically because I would not have to use my computer. So I'm just going to scan, and then I'm going to press start. So start. And this is where it pulls it in. It's going to check for that barcode. If it can't find that barcode, it's going to give me an error. And it is scanning all of the print on the page. And here you can see there's an image of exactly what is on my page. And I'm just going to say, okay. And now it's showing me cutting outlines for anything that I might like to cut. So I am going to grab these little handles, and I'm just going to box in what I want to cut because I don't want like weird cut marks on the mat. I don't want my washi tape. I don't want to cut out the title at the top. So I'm just going to box this in like that, and then preview. And now I can see that everything looks like it's outlined really well. And I'll go over what happens if you have things that you don't want to be cut out or things that aren't being picked up correctly. I'm going to go over that here in a moment. I'm just going to click OK because everything looks good. I'm going to hit OK again. There's some extra options in here which I never really need to use. And then we need to just say what we want to do with it. We're going to cut on those lines, not draw or anything else. And then I'm going to hit start. So it's gonna check the mat again. What it's doing now is setting the pressure. So you don't have to set the pressure on this machine for basic cutting like this. It uses the blade automatically to touch the paper and know how thick your stock is. And then it cuts everything out. Now I have found it takes me about 5 minutes start to end to cut out one page. If it's really complex, it might take a little longer. But in general, 5 minutes on average, which for me is a lot faster than cutting all of these little things out by hand. So everything is cut out. It says finished cutting, and I am just going to click OK. And I'm going to press unload. It's telling me that when I unload it, nothing's going to match anymore. I say OK, and it unloads it. And here we are with the cut page, and all of these just pop off of here. And then I'll get all of these off and peel off all the excess, pull my tape back, and that is it. That's the whole process for using this scan and cut machine. So now I want to talk about some of the finer details, and I think I'm going to start with the mat. All right, so now I have my whole mat in frame, and let's talk about this. The first con about the mat is that you have to use their mats, and they are a little expensive. However, you can reuse them a little bit. I've had this one for a while, and I make it sticky again by washing it with soap and water. If it's not sticky enough, I use this little Zig two-way glue, and I apply some of that. It's like Post-it note glue. If you use too much, you're gonna get in trouble. Your paper isn't gonna wanna come off, but I put it on, let it dry, test it with a piece of scrap paper, and if it's too sticky, I'll take like a soft cloth and just kind of dab it over to get the sticky to be less sticky. So if it's a fresh mat, or I have freshly put that glue on, I won't need these pieces of washi tape. They're unnecessary, but I'll notice I start losing tack, but I'm not quite ready to put that re-glue on, do the wash and re-glue. And that's when I use some washi tape. I pick patterns that I don't care for, that I'm not going to use in craft projects, and I just put it along, usually all 4 edges. I'm down to 3 today for some reason. I just use that to keep my paper in place, because if it moves at all, your cuts are going to be just very slightly off. The only other problem I've had with these mats is they wear out on the back. You start getting kind of a track where the rollers go at the top here, and it begins to wear away at this material, and it'll actually just stop loading. It'll lose enough material at the very edge, and it made me crazy. I thought there was something wrong with my machine. It was only loading on one side, and it turned out that the mat had just run out of mat. There's no material left there to grab onto. I got around that for a short while by putting washi tape over it, but decided it wasn't worth the hassle and just replace the mat whenever it hits that point. So you can re-stick them, but eventually you're going to get that. Or sometimes they just want to crack or cut through where maybe things have gone over too many times. I am using the low tack mat. I found the regular tack to be too sticky for the paper that I use. It was just peeling off the back. So I went with the low tack, and I've been pretty happy with this. So now let's go over some things that can go wrong when you're scanning in your files. So all of my newer files, I put a nice heavy line around everything because I am using this machine. I'm going to cut them out. And so I make sure the line around the edges of everything is thick enough that the machine can pick them up. However, you can see here that it has not picked up the edges of the envelope. It has picked up the design in the middle because the line around the edge wasn't dark enough for the machine to see. Now, I'm going to try to get this to find the edge. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to pick this little color thing. All I did was scan this in and say preview. That's the only point. That's all I've done. So I'm going to tell it less colors. So I'm going to go down 1 notch and click preview. And this takes a moment to load. And you can see that has changed the outline. It's picking up less of the interior. I'm going to try reducing that one more time. And preview again. And you can see it still really has not done a good job. And this is it's actually picked up all kinds of crazy stuff in there. And at this point, I would cut this out by hand because it has so many problems. I wouldn't mess with it. Somebody more familiar with this machine might have a clever way of getting this to work. You can try going up in colors as well. I'm just going to go back to the first setting. but I don't want to spend more time messing with the machine than I need to. So your mileage may vary. If you don't have strong outlines on all of your pieces, it might not pick them up, and you're going to have to play with the settings to get it to see everything. Now, there is another setting. I'm going to X out of the color setting, and you can get rid of small things. So all this mess here or the text on the page, if you tell it to start ignoring things smaller than a preset height, it will start getting rid of them. And you can see that the text at the page is pretty much gone at this point. So if you're trying to cut out a page of fussy cuts or small pieces, and maybe you couldn't crop out all of the marketing information on the page, you can use this setting to exclude that. And this is another setting to play with. You can see it's dropping stuff out of the middle there. But in this case, because it's done such a poor job of picking that all up, this is a very extreme case that this is not something that this machine is going to cut very easily. So, and I just wanted to say this example is an extreme case. Sometimes it'll be just like one little part of something, and I'll actually grab a pencil and just draw a line in and rescan it. Sometimes just rescanning it in general will give you a better result. So you might need to play around with it, but I wanted you to know that this is not a one and done quick fix to cutting. It has its own little quirks, and you're going to run into times where it's just faster to grab the scissors and cut it out yourself than it is to keep messing with the machine. And I will do that if I have something like this. But since I'm designing my own printables, I make sure that everything now has that outline around the edges so the machine can pick it up for me. So all of my newer kits have that harder outline. By newer, I mean made in this year, 2025. Previous years before I got this machine, I was cutting on Cricut using PNGs, so it wasn't as big of a deal. So this is from my spooky movie kit that was from, oh gosh, maybe a couple of years ago. So it's like a monster movie theme. It's a pretty fun kit. I just wanted to give you a good overview of this machine, what it can do, how I use it, which is super basic. It can do so much more than this. I'm not interested in that. I just wanted a machine that I could print, scan, and cut, and it has done that. I cut, gosh, my last kit was 112 pages, plus all of the test pages whenever I tested things out. So I don't even know how many I cut, and they all cut perfectly with those outlines. So I hope this helps you if you're thinking about getting this machine. I also included an Amazon link to the machine down in the description down below. I did buy mine through Amazon, and if you purchase through that link, I will get a small commission at no cost to you. So hopefully you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video.